Hey guys, today we're going to go over the builder pattern. Let's go ahead and get straight to it and start off with the definition. So the builder pattern is a creational design pattern that lets you construct complex objects step by step. The pattern allows you to produce different types and representations of an object using the same construction code. Some of the benefits are you can construct an object step by step by breaking down the construction logic into smaller, manageable steps. It also allows you to include or exclude whichever components you decide. A few use cases for when to consider is when you want a class that creates different representations of complex objects. So for example, let's say in the case of a house, you might have different representations of a house. You might have a modern style house, you might have a lodge house, you might have a farmhouse, etc., etc. So you see, these are all houses. However, the way they are represented are different. So another use case is when you want a class that simplifies the creation of a complex object. So another thing that you're going to encounter shortly is that the builder pattern makes use of the method chaining. So if you've been programming for some time, you've probably seen methods that chain onto each other and execute the code in a sequence order. So this is another thing that you'll see that builder pattern makes use of. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to this diagram here on the left. So starting with the client, you see the client makes use of the chef director. In this case, in reality, it's really considered just a director, but for this example, I'm going to call it chef director because we're dealing with sandwiches. So the director in the case of builder pattern, it refers to the director is like the one who ultimately makes the decision as to the order of how an object is going to be created. So in this case here, the chef director is going to give the direction of how a sandwich is going to be created. So as far as the sequence of how this sandwich is going to be created, so you typically you will have a sandwich which starts off with the bun, right, or the bread. So they could do the bread, and then from there, it could be the meat and the lettuce, the sauce, but it could vary. So that sequence or how the sandwich is ultimately created is directed by the director. And the director will make use of the sandwich builder. And as you can see here, the sandwich builder implements this interface here, which is iSandwich. And the sandwich builder will return a sandwich here. And this is our ultimate product, or the concrete product, that we will be returning to the sandwich builder, which will eventually make its way back to the client. So let's go ahead and start coding out this. So first thing we'll start off with, let's start off with the interface here. So we're going to start off by saying interface iSandwich. And we're going to have a property or an attribute of the sandwich, right? Because ultimately this is what we want to return as the final result. And we have a few methods here. We have setBread. This will take in one argument of bread, and this will be a string. The type to return is going to return this. The reason why it's returning this is because, as I mentioned before, is that builder makes use of the method chaining. So in order for method chaining to occur, returning this at the end of the method is required. Okay, so that is why the return type here is going to be this. So next we're going to do setMeat. And as you can see, essentially all this is going to be very redundant. It's going to be just repeating all these other processes, what we did here earlier or above for the setBread I hate when this auto completes some things that I don't really want. Okay, so here, there we go, just like this. I guess to make this easier, what I can do is I can just copy this below and I'll just tweak it, right? So here next we have set cheese. Forgot the E. Okay, we'll do the same. We'll just go copy it again below. This one's gonna be the sauce. Copy below. All right, this one's gonna be slightly different. So for the veggies, instead of taking an input of a string, we're gonna take an array as an input. And so we're gonna take an array that has it could be one or more than one veggies that are included. So here we're going to do the veggies, and this will be an array of strings, and this will also return back the this object, or the instance of the sandwich that it ultimately we want to return back to the client. And then the final method is the build. So build is essentially what's going to return to us the final result, or the sandwich in this case. So for this one here is we're just going to it's going to return back the sandwich type. Okay. All right. So now you might see this error. So this error is because we haven't created our sandwich class, and we'll do that right now. All right. So you see the errors go away. All right, so now we took care of the interface. So now we're going to be working on this here, the concrete, the product of the sandwich, right? So we're going to start off with the bread. This is going to be a type string, and we're going to initialize it to an empty string. And we're just going to go ahead and copy this a few times below because it's going to be repetitive. So for the next one here we have, so let's see, we did bread. We're going to do the meat. That's also a string. Next one we got cheese, which is a string. Then the sauce. And then the veggies. And veggies is, remember, it's a string of arrays. So this is slightly different. So this is a string of arrays. And we're going to initialize it, not a string, but an empty array. And we have a method for this one here as well. We're going to call it getDescription, and this one we're going to format we're going to do some formatting here of a string that's going to print out for us at the end the final sandwich. So what we're going to do here is and we're going to the return type is just going to be void. So we're not going to return anything. We're just going to console log. So we'll do console log. Use your backticks because we're going to do we're going to build out this string. So we're going to say this is a, and then we're going to add our variable for the meat. This is a meat sandwich. So say the input is for the meat is turkey, it would say this is a turkey and then sandwich. Or if it's roast beef, it would say this is a roast beef sandwich, etc. Okay, let's so this is a meat sandwich on, and then we're going to add our bread. Oh, actually, you know what? These squiggly lines here, the error is because we forgot to add the this in front of it. Okay, so don't forget that. There we go. All right, on the bread type, so bread, and then sandwich on bread with, then we'll add our cheese here. And then here, what we can do is we can go ahead and add our veggies. And this is an array, so we're going to have to use a built-in method called the join. And I'll show you right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to say this dot, oh, I keep forgetting the this keyword. Okay, so add that this here. So here, this dot veggies. And then we're going to use the built-in method called join. And we're going to this join is used for arrays, so we're going to want to take all the values inside the array and have them separated by a comma and a space. Okay, so just like so. So make sure you add the comma and then the space. And then finally we're going to say and this dot sauce. All right, and that's it for that. Okay, so at this point we have our interface done. We have our concrete product of a sandwich. Now let's go ahead and work on our sandwich builder, which is going to return the sandwich for us. So, class sandwich builder. This is going to implement the I sandwich, right? Because if we look at this diagram here, we see that it's implementing this interface of the I sandwich. So knowing that this is an this sandwich builder is implementing the I sandwich, that means that we have to abide by the contract, right? And make use of everything that's provided for the interface. So what we can do here is we can go over to the interface and copy everything from there and paste it over to our sandwich builder. And I'm going to go ahead and comment these out and just work on these step by step. Okay, so here we have our property for a sandwich, because that is ultimately the final product, or what we finally want to return. And then here we have set bread. So now we're going to have to create the logic for this set bread method. So let's see. So set bread, we're going to do this dot. Oh, actually, you know what? Before anything, I'm going to comment this out for the moment. We forgot our constructor. We're going to have to create our constructor here. And this within this constructor, this is where we're going to initialize a new instance of a sandwich here. Okay, so we're going to do new sandwich, and then we're going to have to we want to store that in this variable right here of sandwich. So we'll say this dot sandwich equals the new sandwich. So at this point, once this sandwich builder is instantiated, this constructor will automatically run and create that instance of a sandwich for us. All right, now let's go ahead and continue where we left off. The set bread. Okay, so for the set bread, we're going to say this dot sandwich dot, and then we want to get the bread, right? So at this point, what we're doing is, so this is for the bread. So we're looking at this sandwich here, and we want to grab this property here, so which is the bread. So we say this sandwich bread, and then we want that to equal the input value that's passed to this set bread method. So we'll say bread, and then finally we're going to return this. And remember again that the returning this is what allows us to perform the method chaining. Okay, so for all of these methods, we're going to essentially be doing the same thing. Is we're going to be adding some value as an input to the sandwich, and then at the end we will return this, or we're going to return the updated or the current update of the sandwich each time. So this allows us to perform the method chaining. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's go ahead to the next one. All right, so for the meat, we can do the same thing here. I'll just copy this over. And is this sandwich, and then this is the meat equals meat, and return this. For the cheese, we'll say this dot sandwich dot cheese, is equal to cheese. And then return this. All right, 2 more to go. This sandwich.sauce equals sauce. And return this. Oh, actually, you know, it looks like there's duplicates here. All right, so we can remove one of them. So let me make sure I have everything. So we have 1, we have bread, meat, there's 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, cheese sauce. Oh, we're missing the veggies. That's what it was. Oh, yep. Okay, so we'll go ahead and copy one more over here for the veggies. All right, so veggies. This is an array of veggies, so this will be different. So as an input, this we're gonna do veggies, and this is gonna take an array of strings like this, and we're gonna do this sandwich veggies, and the way, so since veggies here, if we look at our sandwich, see. So veggies is an array of strings, right? Okay, so if we're calling set veggies and we're accepting an array of strings for the veggies, the way we're gonna append or add these veggies onto that array is by doing this sandwich veggies dot push, and then we're going to spread out the veggies here. Okay, so by spreading the veggies out like so here, this is gonna take our array here and essentially dissect it and just take all the values and add it or push them onto this veggies array. Okay, and then there we go. We're gonna return this, and finally we got the build, which is returns the final result for us. So this is all we do for this one is just return this dot sandwich. So this is the final method that's called, because this is what's returning to event. This is what's returning the sandwich that has been built. All right. So now at this point, we took care of these parts here. So now we want to take care of the director, which, as I mentioned, is the director is the one who decides how the sandwich is going to be organized or built ultimately. Okay, so the order in which the sandwich occurs, they might have staff and the chef is telling them, okay, this is the way the sandwich is going to be built. So they direct the way the final result of how the sandwich is supposed to be built. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this class of we're going to call it chef director because we're dealing with a sandwich here. So chef director, and this will have a static method called construct. And here's where we're going to create a new instance of our sandwich builder. So we're going to say return new sandwich builder like so, and then here is where we're going to perform the method chaining that I've been talking about. So at this point we have a list of all these setter methods here that we can start building our sandwich one by one, and all of these methods are provided to us and made ready for us. So it's very simple to just start chaining these methods together. So if I imagine building a sandwich at my house, I imagine starting off with the bread or the bun, right? So we're gonna call the set bread in this case first, and for this case I'm gonna say wheat bread. Okay, I'm just gonna make a turkey bread, a turkey sandwich. Okay, so we'll start off with the bread. Next, we're gonna set up, say the meat, right? And then, as I mentioned, this is a turkey sandwich, so we're gonna say set meat, and we'll do turkey. And then next, I imagine setting up the cheese, right? Adding the cheese on this turkey sandwich. And the type of cheese, I'm just gonna say Swiss cheese for this one. Next, I imagine adding the sauce, so I'll set sauce, and for this one I'll say mayo. And then finally the veggies, so I'll say set veggies. And remember, this is not a string, this takes in an array as an input, so I'm going to pass in an array and then pass in your individual veggies that you want. So for me, I do like tomatoes, so I'll say tomatoes, and then I'll say lettuce, and then maybe I'll say onions as well, so I'll say onions. Okay, and then finally, once we have added all of these pieces together, and this that the chef had told us that sandwich is supposed to be created, we can finalize it by saying build, or he could say build here, just like so. So this will all start preparing everything and building the sandwich for us together. Okay, let's see here. We got a little error. Let's see what we got here. Set a construct, declaration of state is unexpected. Let's see, 71. Construct, return new. Oh, construct. Okay, yeah, we're supposed to return. Yeah, we didn't add the return type, so we're expecting the sandwich back. Let's see if let's save and recompile. Nope, that wasn't it. But expect equal for property initializer. Three 62. Oh, okay, there we go. Just like I forgot the curly braces. All right, let's give that a try again, see if that resolves it. All right, we got one more error here. Let's see what we got here. All right, so this is for, let's see, 46 sauce. This sauce is saying property says sauce in type sandwich builder is not assignable to the same property in base type I sandwich. And I sandwich sauce string. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just noticed just now. You guys probably caught it before me. So I see I have duplicates of this set sauce. That's probably why that was occurring earlier with when I saw duplicates of this set sauce. So let's make this adjustment here and add set veggies. So you should only have one set sauce, and the other one is for set veggies. All right, so I overlooked that one. All right, so if we save that now, we have no errors. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and see where we're at. Okay, so this is where we were at, right? I said that we're gonna execute this build right here, which will create our sandwich for us. All right, so at this point, all we have left is the client. So this is where we're going to start testing our code. Okay, so this is our client, and let's see what we get. Let's start creating our sandwich. Let's create our sandwich. All right, so first we're going to call the chef director. Okay, so the client is calling the chef director, so we'll say chef director dot construct. Okay, and we're going to store that in a variable, just call it sandwich. And then now we're going to say sandwich dot and then get description, right? Because get description, where was it at? Here. All right, it's right here for the sandwich. We got get description, which as you can see is going to take all of these values that are provided, that the client provides, and create this sentence for us here, which you'll see. So get description is the name of the method, and we are going to make use of it right here. So sandwich get description, and if I save that, let's go ahead and expand this console so we can see the final result. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so let's see what we get. All right, so I'm gonna do, there we go. All right, there you go. So this is kind of hard to see right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this from here, and I'm just gonna paste it right here just so you guys can see better. Actually, you know what? Let me take this here and paste it where we created this method right over here. Okay, perfect. All right, so what was the result we got? So we see here it says this is a turkey sandwich on wheat bread with Swiss cheese, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, and mayo sauce. And that is exactly what we have here, what we constructed right here, right? The wheat bread, turkey, Swiss, mayo, and the tomatoes, lettuce, and onions. All right, and so I can say we want a different sandwich. Say we want a roast beef sandwich this time. So instead of wheat bread, we want white bread. All right, and since it's a roast beef, we'll say roast beef. Bread for the cheese, I don't know what's your common cheese for roast beef, but I'll just say provolone here. And my understanding is the sauce is typically horseradish, so we'll say horseradish. And for the veggies, I don't know. Let's remove the onions, but we'll keep the tomatoes and lettuce, and then we'll build it. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's see what we get here. I'm gonna clear out the console so we can get a fresh look. All right, run it, and now look at what we get here. All right, so I'm gonna paste that right in here. All right, so this is a roast beef sandwich. You see roast beef on white bread with provolone cheese, tomatoes, lettuce, and horseradish sauce. How awesome is that? All right, so now you see, do you see how robust this approach of building out some complex object is? That you can essentially just think of something big and just think about all the pieces and just break it apart and just start building it. If you had a robot, like, I mean, I don't know how to build a robot, but like, say like you had a robot, you start with the head, build the head, you set up the arms, set up the body, set up the legs, right? If you're building a house, set up the roofs. I mean, it's just you just take these complex objects and you just break them apart, and that's essentially what the builder pattern does. It takes complex objects and it allows you to break them apart in pieces and really tailor it to how you want the final representation, because like in the definition of it, right? It's talking about the representation of it here, right? When to use, when you want a class that creates different representations of a complex object. So like different representations. So like in this case, we were talking about sandwiches. So we created a turkey and we created a roast beef sandwich. They're both sandwiches. They're sandwiches at the end of the day, but the representation of them is different, right? The way we created it is different, and that is what the builder pattern does. I hope you guys found use of this tutorial, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching.